so much. I know we are talking about a heavy topic right now, so I'd like to give you some extra self-esteem. So do me a favor. Turn to the person next to you and say, "You look good." And to be fair, turn to the person on the other side of you and say, "You look okay too." I'm just kidding, you all look gorgeous, but don't you feel a little bit better? So I have a question for you. Have you ever seen those pictures of really happy families holding hands, looking into each other's eyes, recapping the day that they just had, maybe frolicking down the beach in matching outfits? I hate that stuff. Let me explain. When I was 11, my grandmother was diagnosed with Alzheimer's. And 2 weeks later, she moved in with us. My mother made a promise that no stranger would ever take care of her through her illness. She said that family would be there to remind her who our names are, what our names were, to help her get dressed in the morning, to help her brush her teeth. And when it got really bad, we were there feeding her and supporting her in her last days. My mom made a promise, and she held true to that promise, that family would take care of my grandmother until she left this earth. She passed away my freshman year of college. I was completely lost. I didn't know what to do, because for 7 years of my life, while physically this was my grandmother, mentally we had exchanged roles. And I had to grow up really fast. There was so much responsibility that at 11 years old, I had no idea that I would come my way. Years later, I was driving through standstill, bumper-to-bumper traffic in the Lincoln Tunnel, going into New York City, and I'm on the phone with my mother. I'm Puerto Rican, so she talked, I listened, that's just how that goes. And there was a moment in the conversation where she got really quiet, and I got really brave. And I said to her, "Mom, I want to talk about my childhood. I have questions. I'm confused about some things, and I feel like I grew up really fast." And she said, "Let me stop you right there. If you want some sort of emotional connection with me in this moment, that's not going to happen." Confused by this statement that she just said to me, I realized that there has always been two versions of my mother. There's the version that cared so much about education that she paid for my college education. I have zero college debt thanks to my mom. But then there's the version of my mom that was so mad at me for moving to Florida after grad school that when I was on her doorstep on Christmas Day, she threatened to call the police on me. There's the mom that spent 7 years of her life caring for her dying mother, but then there's the mom that took 7 seconds to completely dismiss me emotionally. And what I realized in that moment is that the emotional connections that I was striving for as an adult would not and could not be fulfilled by my mother or even the family I was born into. Not too long after this conversation, I am on a red-eye flight, 6 hours in a middle seat from Seattle to New York City. And I stumble through the airport and I find my way to the car share line. And I sit in an hour traffic to get back to my apartment, to finally drop all of my bags, take a big deep breath in, a big exhale. And my boyfriend looks at me and says, "I think you should move out." I call my friends Jen and Sam, and I somehow find my way, and I am ugly crying into their laps with pizza. I had only met them about 3 months earlier. We were cast members together on an online fitness show called Daily Burn, and we became friends very quickly. We joke that we went from 0 to besties in 2 pizza slices. But they let me ugly cry in their laps and just let it all out. I finally found those people that could emotionally connect with me and be there for me when I needed them and had questions and was confused and frustrated and all jumbled in my brain. A couple of months after that, we had a text exchange. I'll tell you, this is the only group text on my cell phone that I'm excited to be a part of. We were exchanging texts back and forth, and all of a sudden we were talking about getting tattoos, and the next thing I knew, we were in Brooklyn in a tattoo shop. Years earlier, when my grandmother was sick, I had said to my mom, "Hey Mom, what if we got matching tattoos as a tribute to Graham?" And she just shrugged it off. So now I find myself in this tattoo shop in Brooklyn with two amazing young women that I've gotten to know. And after we're all done, my one friend, Jen, holds up her arm and says, "This tattoo is for my brothers, and now this one is for my sisters." I finally had sisters. That's cool. And what I realized there in that moment is that I don't have to do this alone. I don't have to do the happy stuff. I don't have to experience the sad stuff. I don't have to prepare this talk by myself, because I have an amazing group of people supporting me. I joke that, well, it's actually true. While my friends aren't the folks that I spent holidays with growing up, I know that if I show up on Christmas Day, they'll open the door for me. And while they weren't necessarily the ones there at my high school graduation, they were there when I crossed the finish line at my first half marathon. And they weren't there when I lost my first tooth, but they were there when I lost my last boyfriend. And if my story doesn't convince you that these human connections outside of your family is important, then I brought backup, don't worry. On college campuses, all the research tells us that the more connected students are to each other, the higher their grades are, the higher their graduation and retention rates, and the more successes they have after graduation. At work, folks that have besties in the office are 7 times more likely to produce higher quality work. Because in life, loneliness increases your chance of death by up to 40%. I work with teams and their leaders all across the country, and it really just comes down to 3 simple words. Humans need humans. We need each other. Sometimes it's your family and sometimes it's not, but we need those human connections, those non-familial relationships when we're tired, we're frustrated, we're annoyed, to help pick us back up and reset us to who we are. We need that person that we can lean on their shoulder when we're crying, ugly cry in their laps, tell that joke to when we need them to feel better, stuff that candy bar in our faces to make us back to who we want to be, the better version of ourselves that we know that we can be and we know that they can be as well. This is my tribe. Who are your humans? Who's made up your tribe to make your life better, to make you a better version of yourself? Because I guarantee you, you're doing the same for them. Not long ago, I started journaling as a way to express gratitude for the people and the things in my life that I'm grateful for. And it's funny looking back how this one sentence really became the message for my talk. And that is, while I love the family I was born into, I lean on the family I found. Thank you.